Hey SB fam, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Bella the Steak and Butter Gal. I hope you all are having a fantastic meat-fueled day. As always, drop a comment down below, update me on how you all are doing on your carnivore journeys. Also feel free to follow me on Instagram at Steak and Butter Gal for even more carnivore content, tips, tricks, and recipes. So today's video features yet another carnivore couple-to-couple conversation featuring the brilliant Professor Bart K and the gorgeous Pim Jansen. Steak and Butter Guy and I really enjoyed our conversation with Bart and Pim. They really opened up and offered a lot of their guidance advice on how to navigate within a relationship through differences in nutrition, in health priorities. We discuss why cravings happen and the best practices to combat cravings. We also dig deep into the dark secrets of the health and food industries. And another topic worth mentioning that we talk about is something that I get asked over and over and over. After going carnivore, how are we supposed to speak to our doctor, and what should we do if our doctor does not support our way of eating or tries to shame us for being carnivore? Bart really gives fantastic info and guidance on how to navigate a doctor who just does not understand this lifestyle. So make sure to watch to the very end to see what Bart and Pim have to say on these important topics. If you're completely new to this lifestyle, you've just now entered the carnivore space, you're new to my channel, and you are intrigued, I want to invite you all to come join my community, the Steak and Butter Gang. It is open 24/7, 365 days a year, and it is off social media. It truly is a safe place for anyone who just wants to learn more about the carnivore diet, anyone who wants to troubleshoot, tweak, get to their goals faster, and have a team of coaches to lean on for extra guidance and support. So if you are interested in joining the Steak and Butter Gang and knowing what type of benefits are included, just the amount of support and guidance you will get, please go to sbgmeetup.com or click the link in the description box to sign up and read more on the details. Without further ado, let me invite on this fantastic couple, Bart K and Pim Jansen. Hey, Bart and Pim, how are you guys?
Good.
Good, thank you.
We're all good. Everyone's good.
How did you two meet?
Right. Shall I handle that one, or do you want to handle that one?
You handle it.
All right. As usual, it's left to me. At the time that Pim and I met, I was working as a lecturer in a university in the UK. I was asked to give a lecture to a group of students who are not my usual group of students. Often academics were asked to teach into different areas here and there to kind of give a broad exposure to the students of different perspectives and that kind of stuff. So the students I was talking to were a group of biomedical, undergraduate degree biomedical science students. And I was asked to go and talk to them about cholesterol. And so I did, and I told them what my thoughts really were about cholesterol. And I gave that lecture. And after the class, one of the bright, shiny students came trotting down to the front of the lecture theatre to start a discussion. Yeah, so Pim was a student, not one of my students. As I said, she was in a different program. I wasn't teaching to that program. It was just I think I gave about 2 lectures it was even just that one.
Just that one that year?
Yeah, just that one that year. And so while she absolutely was a student, she wasn't one of mine. She was in a different course. So anyway, that's how we met. And obviously, we're a lot closer in age than most student lecturer relationships, I guess, might be, because Pim was an adult student at the time, a mature age student. So nothing dodgy, but that's how we met, basically. And it just so happened that Pim already held the same views about cholesterol and saturated fat that I was espousing.
Yeah, I think I've been pulling my hair out for several years trying to talk to people, telling them that they should be low carb, and everyone just like, la la la, we don't want to hear. Wow. And then he steps up and I'm like, oh my God, a kindred spirit, I need to talk to him.
Wow.
So there you go.
A real person, not just an internet person.
Yeah. Do you want to report what you might have said to the person sitting next to you when I started talking?
No.
Okay. Fine.
Just as a follow-up question, there are a lot of couples out there that have disagreements about what constitutes optimal nutrition. Now, I'm just curious, are you two completely on the same page as far as what is considered optimal nutrition? Or do you have disagreements as well? If so, how do you get over that hurdle? Just not having the same things to eat.
For the most part, we're on the same page. Neither one of us is 100% carnivore 100% of the time. One of us is less carnivorous than the other one slightly, but not by a huge amount. I'll let Pim tell you about what her diet is like and why it is that way. We have very few disagreements about food and optimal food and stuff. It's not the sort of thing that we spend a lot of energy on, really. We
Just
have
how
other,
to cook it.
we have other things to argue about than food, to be fair. I typically run, I'm guessing, at 95% carnivore, somewhere in there. Pim probably slightly less than that, I would say.
I think I'm slightly more than you right now.
At the moment, yeah. I mean, I've had a couple of days in the last
This is
few
what we
days.
can argue about.
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
In the last few days, I've done some things nutrition-wise that I don't normally do anymore.
Okay.
And we're talking potato chips and alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Fine, whatever. That's what I did. And so, you know, any friction between us on that sort of thing will be more about behavior that might occur associated with the alcohol or not, rather than the actual taking of the alcohol itself. And I might agree or disagree with what Pim's doing and why she's doing it. But at the end of the day, we respect each other's choices enough to go, well, that's what she wants to do and that's fine. And she's got her reasons for doing it.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think we've always been like that. It's like, what I eat is my problem, what he eats is his problem. Then there might be a comment here and there, both ways, about it. I'm like, really? Why did you go and buy wine again? Because I can't keep my mouth shut. Like, why are you doing that to yourself? As I said, I can't be 100% carnivore. I've tried several times. It always results in the same way, which is me having migraines and headaches every single day. And I also get very fatigued. Like, I need to sleep 2 hours every day, and I have brain fog. I don't function well. I can't really live my life. And I think diet should enhance your life and make you feel good. Otherwise, what's the point?
That's right.
So I need to eat some carbs every now and then, like maybe every 5 days, maybe every week, sometimes I can go a little bit longer. So I have days where I'm 100% carnivore, but some days I just need to eat carbs because the headaches are coming on. And that's the only way that I can stop them, that I figured out for now anyway.
How long did you give the carnivore diet a shot? And did you ever think maybe it was just adaptation symptoms? It was maybe oxalate dumping?
So the first time I did it this year, I did it for 90 days, pretty much. I had some pesto and other things that barely contain any carbs. It did take me about 6 weeks before I got daily headaches. So it's strange if it's an adaptation problem that occurs that late. I don't really understand it. And I know that I'm getting electrolytes. I know that's not the problem. But I was, very stubborn. I was like, I'm going to do the 90 days. And then it took me a very long time to recover. Now, when I did it now, I think I lost it about 9-10 days before I started getting a really bad headache that was just hanging on. And then I decided to abandon ship quickly, but it still took me several days to get back on track. So now I'm going until the headaches appear. Then I just eat some carbs straight away, 30 to 50 grams. And usually they go away the day after or the same evening sometimes.
Oh, wow. What type of carbs are you eating?
I used to eat sweet potato. Then I swapped to rice because I don't like rice. It seemed like a good thing to do. But that resulted in massive oxalate dumping. So now I have like bumps all over here. I don't know if you can see it because his camera is very bright. So we look very pale, and all my arms, and they're just itching and I can't get rid of them. So now I'm trying to eat a few almonds every day or a piece of dark chocolate or something to just stop the dumping. And I think I managed to stop it, but it hasn't really reversed yet. So now I'm going back to sweet potatoes as well because they have more oxalates in them.
At the end of the day, we all do the best that we can do. And I have been very strong on the line that 100% carnivore is ideal, is the best diet for humans, and is what we should aspire to and what we should try and achieve.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be more successful than other people. for reasons of self-discipline differences between people, for reasons of maybe there's problems that people have got because of their life before they came to carnivore. There may be metabolic dysfunction. I think that oxalate does have long-lasting effects on people for years after they stop with that standard Western, standard American diet, whatever it is. I can think of two people that I know who say to me, I cannot be 100% carnivore. It like Pim's one, and I know another one who's also Swedish. So maybe it's Swedish people. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
Interesting.
But you know, I have one person that I counsel who is the same as Pim. She has to have an amount of carbohydrates, or else there are problems. So I think there has to be room for people to have those kind of issues. It's not born into their genes. It's not that the carnivore diet isn't ideal for all people. It is. But there are people who have problems that need to work through those problems in their own way, and there needs to be room for that. We need to not be extremists, because if we start being extreme and start being unpleasant to one another on the basis of what we're eating, we're going to start sounding like that other crowd, aren't we?
That's true.
Those are the ones that are nasty to people when they don't do the right thing. Oh, you never really were one of us, and you did it wrong anyway.
Yeah.
We don't want to be that. We want to be inclusive and supportive to one another. And maybe we might desperately want our partner to absolutely be on board and do as we do.
Yeah.
If, let's say, I was in a position where I was actually able to cast any aspersions at all in this situation, I'm not. Okay. Let's say I was never drinking alcohol. I was never eating potato chips. I was never having those nasty pizzas. I was perfect, 100% carnivore all the time. Would that put me in a position where I should say to Pim, you need to do what I'm doing because I'm doing this perfectly? Because that's just unreasonable. And, you know, you might make the comment like Pim does, really? You got some more wine? You know, really?
Really?
You know, why did you do that? And you might say, oh, I don't really know. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But we leave it at that and we move on.
I didn't want to ask Pim just because I was told beforehand that Pim is an expert on sugar cravings. Could you just give us your top 3 really to the point, simple tips? Just really practical, tangible stuff that is you can execute on the spot tomorrow, just to make it a little easier to stay away from sugar and also just food cravings in general.
So the first thing that you need to do is to identify what's triggering you, because if you don't know what's triggering you, it's going to be hard to kind of catch what you're doing. When you're getting triggered, you will have some sort of thoughts about that, usually just like, I want to eat that. So you need to become aware of what's happening. And the third thing is that you will have the craving, which is actually a physical sensation in your body. And if you can identify that and just focus on that being there rather than trying to resist it or giving into the craving to get it to go away. And if you can just be like, okay, this is how it feels in my body. This is a craving, and that's fine. And just accept that being there. You won't have that urge to just go and eat. So I guess that's 3 things.
Yeah. So like early in our relationship with what I was talking about before, when Pim would say, like, I would get some alcohol or some bad food or something like that, and Pim would say to me, why did you do that? I would immediately take that as an attack. I would get on the defensive. Why are you all up on me here? Why are you doing this to me? What does this matter? It's my life, blah, all of that.
No kidding.
Whereas now I'm like, now I understand, because of what Pim's just said, that explanation. She's asking me why I'm doing it because it's important for me to think about why I'm doing it, not because she wants to get all up in my space.
Yeah.
And so we just move around each other in a completely different way now.
Communication.
Communication, yeah.
I need to understand my own, and I need to try and understand where she's coming from as well.
And by the way, I never tried to coach him because that would just backfire.
I'm uncoachable. Ask Raymond, he'll tell you.
Yes, I know.
For you, are you able to tell the difference between when you're craving carbohydrates or when you're craving sugar?
I mean, sugar are carbs. And a craving is a craving. So whether you crave pasta or bread or pizza, chocolate, whatever it might be, it's probably going to feel the same in your body as a craving. You're probably going to have the same sensations in your body when you're craving something. I think it's just down to preference to what you actually like and what you, maybe in some cases, what you are used to having. So if you're always having chocolate in the evening in front of the TV, that's what you're going to crave. And pasta is not going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So it could be part of just a habit as well. But a craving is always a craving, and it's probably going to feel the same unless it's a craving to maybe, or I would call it an urge maybe to scroll through YouTube to watch videos, for example, because you can crave that as well, and that's going to feel a bit different. But if it's a food craving, it's probably going to feel the same way. I start salivating like a dog. Like if I just notice that I'm salivating, I know that I'm craving something to eat before I even know what it is that I crave.
If you have a look on my channel, there's a couple of videos I've done with Dr. Ryan Attar, who is a naturopath and also a type 1 diabetic.
Wow.
And he does this test that we've done it a couple of times on camera, where he will take some whole wheat bread and he will chew that up in his mouth and then take a test of his saliva for the glucose content in that. Now, if it's all complex and it breaks down slowly, then there shouldn't be any glucose in his mouth after just chewing up some whole grain wheat bread. But every time he does that, just for a few minutes, test the saliva, glucose through the roof. So it doesn't even last in your mouth. It turns into sugar right in your mouth before you even swallow it, even the complex carbs. So saying, I want pasta and not sugar, biochemically, you're getting the same thing. You're swallowing the same thing, and that is sugar. It's just you don't get the sweet taste.
Still
Actually,
is sugar.
I didn't
in
know
your
that.
body.
I actually didn't know that.
Well, they've got this thing called the GI scale that is actually a thing that was designed and put together by some people with a profit and loss statement to look after at the end of the year. The Wheat Growers Association is who funded that thing. And it suggests to you that whole grains and whole wheat and all of that will break down more slowly than refined carbs, because that's how they want to sell you their goods. It's just not true.
Let's put this scenario on someone who's carnivore or trying to be carnivore, right? And they just cannot help but crave, those late night munchies happen and they can't help craving either almonds or nuts, sometimes chocolate. And they're thinking, maybe it's my hormones telling me that I need it. So in that type of situation, do you say, yeah, give in and have that, satisfy that craving? Or do you say willpower through it, do not eat it?
Okay, I don't advocate for willpower ever, because willpower is something that you run out of, especially in the evenings. I advocate for planning. So if you want to have it and you know that your hormones are going to be all messed up and you want to have it, then I say, fine, do that, but plan ahead of time, like a day before, because we don't want to feed the cravings, because the more you're giving into the cravings, the stronger they're going to be the next time, and the harder it's going to be to not give into them. But if you're planning to do it, then you sort of have given yourself permission to eat it. And then you're not feeding that cycle. You just like, okay, today I'm going to have chocolate or whatever. And you eat chocolate. It's not a problem in terms of cravings. But we never want to give in the moment, because that is going to feed the old habit loop, so to speak. If you're a binge eater and you see me as the first point of contact where you want to deal with that, I would say go to a therapist first, and then I can help you move forward. I think that's a better solution, because I'm not a therapist, I'm just a coach. So I'm helping people move forward. I can't really deal with what's happened in the past. It's not really my expertise.
Speaking of adaptation on the carnivore diet and just starting, I do want to emphasize the importance of electrolytes. A great option to make sure your electrolytes are in check is to just salt heavier on all of your carnivore meals. Common symptoms that your body is still adapting and may need more electrolytes is having headaches, having low energy, or sometimes fatigue. Having muscle cramps is another popular symptom. If you are having having any of these symptoms and you've tried salting heavier and it doesn't go away, I do recommend exploring high quality electrolytes. And the brand that I love and always recommend is Element. It is spelled out LMNT, and this is the flavor that I highly recommend because it is their raw, unflavored, zero stevia and zero additives. This is the full-sized box. You get 30 sticks of their electrolytes, and you can see they're very travel friendly. You can just throw a bunch in whatever work bag, backpack you use and take it on the go. Each packet contains the sodium, magnesium, potassium measured out in the right quantities. If you guys want a free sample pack with any purchase, and the sample pack does include the raw unflavored in it, just go to the URL shown on the screen, drinklmnt.com/SBGAL. And if you want a clickable link, I've linked it down below in the description box. What are your thoughts on all of this, Bart?
I think I am definitely lizard brain. I've always been a hedonist. I've always lived my life doing what felt right, what felt good at the time, and then the consequences be damned. There is definitely a place for self-discipline and rejigging of one's own impulses, thought processes, behavior patterns. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I approach dealing with myself in a different way to what Pim would suggest. I mean, if we weren't in a relationship together and I went to Pim because I wouldn't, my personality wouldn't have me going to a coach to talk about sugar cravings, but for example, or whatever. But what she advocates for works really well, and I have absolute respect for her professional ability to do what she does and get the results. I would approach myself differently to what she suggests. Gotcha. It's just an individual thing. That being said, it's fair to say I am wired somewhat differently to your average person. Sure. I am on the autistic spectrum, and as such, I do need sort of, I need to understand that about myself before I can start trying to make changes to some of the automatic responses. What you get when you talk to me these days is actually the refined version. This is the improved version. You should have met the guy beforehand. You know, if people that think I'm abrasive and abrupt now, number one, it's a bit of a knack for the YouTubes. Okay, people, settle down. But I still can be very difficult to deal with. Would that be fair to say?
That would be very fair.
Yeah. So things that Pim is absolutely right about when she says this is how the average person should approach this problem wouldn't work for me because of my different wiring, I guess. So I've had to find my own answers pretty much to everything along the way.
That's very admirable how you guys understand each other's positions and you make it work regardless. Takes a lot of communication. That's what I've learned from you both.
But also forgiveness, because it doesn't always work. Sometimes we are going to lose our shit with one another and we're going to say stuff that we didn't necessarily, I'm not going to say we didn't mean, because we actually usually do. Stuff that we perhaps should not have said. That's probably a better way of thinking about it. I should not have said that, sort of, and being prepared to back down off that before you get to the precipice. It's also like everything. We don't want to be extreme about this. We don't understand each other all the time. We don't move around each other perfectly all the time. Sometimes it gets a bit dicey, and that's fine too.
I just want to thank you guys for being so transparent as far as the relationship couples aspect of this couples interview goes. I'm just curious, Bart, I watched a few of your videos, and I'm curious if you could extrapolate a little on how you think business, industry, money, how these things play into general population's understanding and inclinations towards diet and food.
Yeah, you bet. It is a sad fact that folks need to understand, need to appreciate, and need to accept. And that is that the science regarding human nutrition is completely absent. There is no science extant in this field. Science is an experimental intervention where you take two otherwise identical groups and you control every aspect of their lives, except for the one thing that you want to do your experiment on, some aspect of nutrition, and you keep those people under lock and key and observation for the period of time that you want to extrapolate your findings over. So if you want to talk about lifelong health outcomes, guess how long your experiment needs to be?
Whole life.
It cannot be done. It's not practical, it's not financially possible, and it's not ethical. You will never get ethics to do an experiment with human beings as subjects. So we have to compromise. We have to back off this ideal situation of being able to prove cause and effect, and we have to make inferences based on much weaker evidence. This is where the money comes in at that point, because people with a bottom right-hand corner, a profit and loss statement at the end of the year, will fund whatever researcher will tell the story the way they want it told. You bet they will. Companies that make statin medications, for example, will absolutely fund researchers who are prepared to say cholesterol causes heart disease, even though there's no evidence that that is so, existing anywhere in the literature. There are people using weak inferences at best and making those inferences out to be vastly stronger than they are, relying on their own self-claimed authority to do that, and getting bolstered by these companies with huge amounts of research funding. Now, if you're an academic that wants tenure, what do you have to do? You have to draw in research funding. So it becomes a self-perpetuating issue here. They say that money is the root of all evil, and I'm not sure that's true, but in science, especially things like nutritional science or science where you're dealing with the human body or something vastly complex like that, money absolutely is the root of all evil. So everything you've ever been taught about nutrition in your life probably is definitely wrong. A balanced diet is a good idea. That's the best bit of marketing I've heard ever. That's the best propaganda line I've ever heard. You take a word that is thought of as being associated with goodness, light, and you know, the right side of the force, if you like. Balance. What a great word, balance. Of course you should have a balanced diet. No, you're a specialist. You're a human being. You evolved in a niche. Your niche is to eat the flesh and fat of large ruminant animals mostly. Balance? No, that's not what you should do. Fruit and vegetables are good for you. How many times in your life have you heard fruit and vegetables are good for you?
Every day.
Bought and paid for. Repeat the lie often enough, and it becomes the truth. And it becomes anyone who stands up on their hind legs and says, no, fruit and vegetables are not good for you, that person's a dangerous lunatic. They're a nut, aren't they? Yep. That's how they're perceived out there. Bought and paid for, propaganda. This is not some conspiracy theory. You know, I don't need a tinfoil hat for this. The way to sort this out is to remove money from science. And I don't know how you're going to do that, because science costs money to do, a lot of money. I mean, I've been involved personally in 3 external consultancies while I worked in the academic field, with a combined value of something like $12 million. Do you think the people that paid that money got the answer they wanted? Of course they did.
Better have.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, you know, I personally never wrote anything that I didn't believe to be true, but I was judicious with what I did say and what I did not say on the basis of where the money was coming from. You know, and I'm one of the people who is thought of as being the least corruptible sort of person in science, because I am prepared to go against what the consensus is. So if someone like myself is judicious with what he writes, or was when I was working in that field, there's no hope for the average Joe, is there?
based on what you shared, Bart. And we're also thankful that we have access to your channel. You're always explaining these things, showing the science, showing the proof. But a lot of people come to me, mostly like members in the gang, just today. They were saying, oh, I got my cholesterol numbers. They're sky high. My doctor is literally threatening me to take statins. So when you're in a situation like that, you have this relationship with your doctor. They're literally telling you, you need to take statins. This is life or death. In that type of situation, what is your best advice?
Right. There are a number of ways, in my opinion, that a person can deal with that situation. And it really depends a lot on the personality of the person concerned. And probably also you need to take into account the personality of the doctor as well, because they're a human being too, and they will react or act in a certain way. So really, for my money, the options are to nod, say, fine, thank you, doctor, to take the prescription away and never get the thing filled. You could do that. You don't have to argue with that doctor if you don't want to. You can say, fine, thank you, doctor. Yes, doctor, no, doctor, 3 bags full, doctor. Thank you for the prescription. Put it in your pocket and ashcan. That's you've got that option. The other option is to believe that doctor and to go and get that prescription filled out and to take that drug if you believe that. I would strongly advocate that people don't do that. That's not medical advice. That's an opinion based on my understanding of that drug and its pharmacology. You should not do that. The other option is to confront that doctor and say, look, you need to understand, I have looked into this very fully. I am well aware of the situation here. In my circumstance, I can say, with my professional understanding of this area as a senior academic who is a cardiovascular pathophysiologist, among other things, I can tell you, blah, blah, blah. People who are not in that position, who don't have that level of credibility, can lean on the credibility of others like myself and say, look, I have listened to someone who I believe does know what he's talking about in this field, and I am of the opinion that this is not the way I would go. It is my body. It is my life. And at the end of the day, doctor, you work for me.
Right.
You are the employer. The doctor is your employee. Doesn't matter where the funding's coming from, whether you're paying for that yourself or whether it's coming out of some insurance or whatever the situation is in whatever country you might be living in, wherever people might live. That doctor is being paid by someone to take care of you, to give you the advice that they are mandated to give you, whether they even believe it or not themselves. I think genuinely most doctors do believe that cholesterol causes heart disease and that statins make that better. They just don't even question it. It's like fruit and vegetables are good for you and a balanced diet's a good idea. They just don't even consider that might not be true. They believe it. They are required to believe it. Their very job depends on them telling you to take that drug, because if they don't, they can be struck off for gross negligence. Isn't that amazing? Being struck off for gross negligence for failing to tell somebody they should poison themselves completely unnecessarily. Anyway, that's for another day. So you can either take the prescription, leave, smile, nod, thank you very much, and don't take the drug. Or you can take the drug, or you can confront that doctor and remind them that they work for you.
Fantastic.
So this depends on your personality and theirs, I guess. And whether you want to maintain a relationship or whether you are quite, because the other thing is, a doctor that says to me, your cholesterol is high and you need to take a statin, is no longer my doctor from that second forward. Transfer my records. We are done. You are fired. Fired.
Yes, that's always an option, guys. Don't forget, you can fire your doctor, find a better one.
It's really refreshing to hear someone who has so much raw conviction in the way they communicate. Like, I can just tell you believe full-heartedly in every word you're saying. And that's really nice. You definitely capture my attention much more so than most interviews out there, whether I'm part of it or not. So I think that's awesome,
Sure.
Bart. I commend you
Thank
for
you.
that.
Appreciate that. Believe it or not everybody does like it.
You can't make everyone
Yeah.
happy, unfortunately.
Can't.
Yes.
Just can't.
No.
Well, we can wrap up this conversation. I'm more than happy to invite on this beautiful couple back for a part 2. We can talk about any concepts, topics, requests. You guys comment down below. Pim and Bart, please do share where people can find more of you.
And also what
Yes.
kind of projects you're working on right now and
Yes.
just to promote it.
All of it.
You can find my YouTube channel under my name, which is PIMJANSSON. Or you can join my Facebook group, which is called, what is it called? Life Beyond Cravings for Kick-Ass Ketovores. So
That's it.
if you are any type of low carb person that is struggling to stay on low carb because you have carb cravings, join the group. We're doing lots of fun things in there. I also run challenges fairly often. I have a challenge called Master Your Carb Cravings, which is a 7-day challenge, and I'm going that live every day, and we're talking about different things. And I just give you lots of things. What I just told you, like the 3 steps, is one of the days that we're going to talk about what you can actually do about it. But we also build a foundation that you can have and just lean back on when you're trying to quit, so that you are motivated, you know why you're doing it. There are lots of things in there, and I'm going to be there all week long, just answering questions, coaching you if you need some coaching or whatever.
So to find me, all one needs to do is to choose any search engine of your choice, pretty much in the world, and punch in BART space KAY, and the first 10 pages of things that come up will be stuff I've done, etc. And it'll be a mixture of things I've done and people commenting on things I've done. Luckily, nobody's saying anything negative about me anywhere in the world, are they? No. I have 4 or 5 YouTube channels. The main one is the Nutrition Science channel. I have another channel where I'm all professorial and collar and tie and no swearing as well, for people that like that sort of thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't get much views because clearly people need to be offended, shocked, surprised, or whatever to be interested in science. So I have to educate people by subterfuge. My shtick is to be abrasive and swear at people who are wrong on the interwebs. Whatever works for me. And then there's a 3rd channel as well, which is the Meat Militia.
Love it. Yes.
That's where Ted lives most of the time. I have offerings on the Odyssey platform as well. In fact, all my old catalogue of YouTube videos that are no longer available on YouTube are all still there. So if people want to follow me right back to the beginning and binge watch all my stuff over there, they can. If you want to make contact, probably just go to the bit.ly/Bart-KAY, and there's the merchandise shop. There's the organize yourself on consultancies. There's products for sale there. And if you want to email me, my email address is on the About tab on the front page of my YouTube channel.
Everything is linked down below in the description box. Please go show your support and love for Pim and Bart. Thank you.
Thank you guys so
For
much.
your time.
It was so fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Again, Bart K and Pim will be guest speakers in the December 30-day Carnivore Challenge. Feel free to just go to sbgmeetup.com to see which brilliant minds you get to learn from. In addition to the guest speaker Q&As, you also get 24/7 support. There's chat boxes in the Steak and Butter Gang where you can drop your questions, post your updates, post your concerns and struggles. And you also have a total of 7 hours of weekly live Zoom calls to hop on anytime to learn more about the carnivore diet, to ask your questions, and to get expert guidance and support from my team of carnivore coaches. So this is great for anyone who wants to ensure success on your carnivore journeys. If you're new, experienced, revisiting, you are welcome to join us in the next 30-day Carnivore Challenge. Check out the links down below in the description box if you want to learn more and read more on the details. Please don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this video, and please do hit hit subscribe so that you don't miss my future videos. I appreciate all of your guys' support, all of your comments and feedback. And if you have any carnivore couples you would love me to invite onto my channel, comment it down below and I will make sure to take note. If you would like more of me, you can connect with me on Instagram. I post there every day, entertaining and helpful reels, as well as in my stories. My Instagram handle is Steak and Butter Gal. And if you want a bigger say and take part in polls, check me out on Nunu because I love asking questions and letting you guys decide on what type of video topics, roundtables, and guest speakers I film next for my YouTube channel. I have linked all profiles down below in the description box, so feel free to open it up to see all of my pages. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Have a great day.